Hi, welcome and welcome back to my channel. My name is Casey and I'm a product photographer and videographer. In this video, we are going to create 3 different minimalistic product photography scenes without the use of props. This type of imagery truly shows off the product where there's nothing to distract or take away from that item. This is also great if you don't have a large prop budget or you're just trying to get into the world of product photography. I'm going to be using beauty products, but you could easily apply these techniques to any product that you would like to photograph. For the 3 scenes I'll be showing, the first image will be simple using one light and a bounce card. The second scene will do a flat lay with a step and repeat pattern showing off the product texture. And the third scene will use 2 lights, but we're going to hold the product because my hand is a free prop. I'm going to be using colored backdrops since those don't really count as props, but we'll jump into the studio and start with our first product. All right, so I have my backdrop all set up and I picked yellow because I am going to be photographing a yellow product. And to make this product stand out a little bit more, what I'm going to do is shoot with a light without a modifier. And I love the look of the sharp shadows, like that really high contrast look. And I want to get some of the light shining in on this backdrop. So I also have my bounce card here if I need to bring in the shadows. I have my light set to an 8 power. I have my settings on my camera at f16, 1/160, and ISO 100. I think what we're first going to do is start by laying this product down. I have some sticky tack that I grabbed and I will just put this on either side of the product so that it doesn't roll away. I want to be able to see the logo and the name for the flavor of this product. And I'm gonna get that to where I want it. And then I am going to take my first test shot. I have it laid out the way that I want. I'm going to shoot at a 45-degree angle down so that I can still see that light shining down on the backdrop. And that is looking good. And what I love is that you can see the logo of the product shining through onto the backdrop. I'm gonna bring in this bounce card so that I can lighten up my shadows just a little bit. That's looking really good. I'm happy with how that looks. So we'll move on to the next one and I'll get that all set up. All right, for this next shot, what we're going to do is use some of the texture and show that so that you can see what this product actually looks like. So I have a green backdrop that I put down because we're gonna continue that monochromatic look. And so I will zoom in here so that you can see what we are going to be doing. So what I'm first going to do is turn on my modeling light just so that you can see the shadow. You can see that this side of the shadow is a lot higher or showing a lot more than this side. So I'm just gonna take some sticky tack and bump it up a little bit just so that I can see more of that other side of the shadow. And that's looking good. So I think that's about the angle that I want to be photographing it at. So I'm just going to keep that little sticky tack piece there so I can reference it. And then what I'm going to do is with a palette knife, if you don't have a palette knife, you can just use a spoon. But I am going to place a little bit of the product above where the product is sitting. And then I'm going to create a little smudge. So we're going to place some about right here. And if you do not have a vinyl backdrop, if you just have a paper backdrop, then what you can do is just take a piece of glass and put it over the top of your paper. So I have my smudge of product. I'm going to shape it in a way that I think is going to look best. And what I like to do is usually press down and then smear. And if I want to create a curve, I could go down and to the side, but I am just going to gently shape it and smudge it. And then if I need to scoot my product a little bit closer, I can. And then what I'm going to be able to do in Photoshop is cut this product out of the background and duplicate it over and over. So that way I have this product, the smudge, and it's going to be a repeating pattern. I haven't changed my camera settings since the last image, and the lighting is very similar. I moved it ever so slightly. This background is a little bit reflective, so what I can do is just bring in flag and flag that section off so that it's not so bright. And I want to bounce a little bit of light into the product shadows too, so that that is not so harsh. You'll be able to see the bounce card in it, but I'm going to be photoshopping it out, so we'll just get that shot and it should be good. Bring it a little bit closer. And that's looking good. And so then within Photoshop, I can create that step and repeat pattern. All right, here's the last setup that we're going to do. I picked a pink backdrop since we're photographing a pink product, and I'll kind of walk you through the setup that I have here. I'm going to be tethering to my iPad with Capture One, and this is good for if you have a longer lens and you can't reach your shutter button to photograph your image. This way I can focus and I can see exactly what I'm going to get, and I can step away from the camera controls. You could also do something like setting a timer or having another person press the shutter button for you. This way I can just press it wherever I'm. So I've got my light here without a modifier, and this is going to replicate our sunlight. Then I have a fill light here to just bring in the shadows a little bit on this left side. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the product, and I am just going to basically hold it in my hand, kind of getting some sun shining through the product, see if I can get any highlights filtering through the product onto my hand. And there are also other things that you can do, like you could take the lid off here. Since this is a spray, you could go spray the product. If you had a serum or a cream, you could be pouring it into your hand. There's a lot of different things that you could be doing for these images, but I am going to just hold the product for this shot. I'm going to make sure that this logo here is right centered, and I am going to also step back to make sure that I am not casting any shadows on the background. If that's something that you want, you could bring your light a little bit more in front and shine it so that you do see this shadow that you currently see on the background, so that it gives it a little bit more depth and dimension. But for this one, I'm going to keep it a little bit further away from the backdrop so that it's just a solid color. So you can see here on the iPad, it is sideways because I have my camera in portrait mode, and it is not flipped here. So I am just going to line it up the best that I can. I am going to go into my focus setting and press the autofocus, and that will focus on the product. And then I will just go over here to the shutter button when I'm happy with where my hand is at and how my fingers are placed, and I will take the image. I'm feeling pretty good with how that's looking, so I will take it over into Photoshop and finish everything up. Product photography doesn't always require an extensive collection of props, and sometimes simplicity can be just as impactful, if not more so. If you're wanting to create more visual interest in your images, start by thinking of how you can manipulate the highlights and shadows, trying to photograph at different angles, and even playing around with the product's textures. So hopefully this has helped you get some different styling and staging ideas, and to show you how you can still take beautiful images even if you don't have the budget or access to expensive props. I have another video showing the Photoshop process on how I edit the step and repeat pattern, so go check that out. And as always, thank you for being here. If you found this helpful, I'd appreciate if you liked and subscribed, and I will see you in the next one.